So guys, this former DSS boss has come out to reveal how the Sokoto Caliphate accommodates ICC Lukarawa fighters. So guys, it came as a shock to Nigerians to know that ICC is operating in Sokoto without, many Nigerians being aware of it. Anyway, before we get into the video, see how Nigerians have been reacting to Ribadu's 7,000 forest guards that just came from the blues. So guys, Nigerians are wondering, when did Ribadu, recruited these men? What was the process? Where are they coming from? And many people, Nigerians, are resisting, Ribadu's 7,000 forest guards. Like this person who tweeted saying, forest guards must be local, not federal. Even at state level, recruitment should be handled by local government at the local level, drawn directly from the host communities. Everything else will lack trust, face resistance, and ultimately defeat the purpose of creating it. And this other person also reacted and said, how did the NSA get to recruit 7,000 forest guards? There was no official recruitment process, just unveiling of 7,000 people to guard forest. How does that work? Are the forest guards indigenous of their specific states? These are questions deserving answers, questions that we need to get answers for. And this one says 7,000 National Forest Guards armed and deployed into forests across Nigeria by the National Security Advisor. All Mieti Allah terrorists, all Fulani terrorists. This person is also lamenting, and this other person here said, how can federal government hire forest guards, arm them, then deploy them to states in a federation? The states and governors chopped liver. So guys, and this person here also reacted saying, after the U.S. bombing of ISIS, the NSA Ribadu, a jihadist in Tinubu government, regroups 7,000 ISIS fighters, armed them with AK-47, kitted in military uniform, and disguised as forest guards across Nigeria, clearly to continue genocide against Christians. So this person was actually reacting to Raimond's tweets, And this person here said, we need the United States of America military base in Nigeria, precisely southeast. The NSA Ribadu that led the Nigerian team to the USA is already enriching the Mieti Allah with uniforms and AK-47 to act as forest guards, whereas they are the terrorist killing farmers. So guys, these are reactions coming from Nigerians, and this person here also reacted saying, a warning to Middle Belt and Southern governors: do not allow the so-called forest guards recruited and armed by the NSA into your forest. Don't say you were not warned. Recruit and train yours locally. You get why. But if you don't know, I will tell you. So guys, these are Nigerians reacting as regards to the 7 forest guards. Actually somebody was saying that nobody knew when these people were actually being, recruited. There was no official post as regards to that, And like this person here said, how did the NSA get to recruit 7,000 forest guards? There was no official recruitment process. Just unveiling of 7,000 people to guard forests. How does that work? Are the forest guards indigenous of their specific states? These are the questions. So guys, I'm going to allow you to take a look at so much that has been reviewed by this former DSS boss. He has really reviewed a lot as regards to terrorists in Nigeria, and how they are being incubated in this country, and they are causing a whole lot of havoc. So guys, a very big thank you to Donald Trump, because the American intelligence team again, the flight that has been, the ISRO has also come back to Nigeria. This time it's towards the northeast to also gather more intelligence. So we are expecting more strikes. Let me allow you to take a look at this video and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification. Thank you.
We have Boko Haram, which is affiliated to Al-Qaeda, and then of course the breakaway faction is called ISWAP. That's in the northeast, and in the northwest we have Lukarawas. And of course, Lukarawa are the people who migrated into Nigeria from the Sahel. In fact, their original name is ISSP, which is Islamic State in the Sahel province. And they are called Lukarawas. Now, the Lukarawas, they are jihadists actually, and they've chosen to be around Sokoto because they believe strongly in the 19th century ideology of Uthman and Fodio. And they've been in Sokoto, and they have been accommodated because in some local governments, they are actually operating as part of the government. And then, of course, before they were friendly, and later they started taking hostages and stuff like that. But this particular attack, like you showed earlier, in the Baoni, I don't know how to pronounce that, forest in Sokoto state, that's where their concentration was, and the attack was targeted at that place.
Dr. Makri, we heard plenty about the firing of these missiles. We haven't heard much about the results. Why that communication is lacking is, well, I'd like to know exactly. But we also had reports from yesterday that these targets were not actual targets, that they were just farmlands. At least 2 or 3 of these, where we had our reporters at, showed that there was no target in sight or nothing that would indicate that there was even any operation happening there. That's on one side. Let's then look at how this affects the neighbors. This is Sokoto, and this is kind of where the Sahel belt actually starts. What signal does this send to our neighbors, especially those in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in Niger, that are under military rule? Is this a strategic posturing by the United States in any way, shape, or form? And what does that portend to us as Nigerians and our relationship with these neighbors?
Well, initial analysis have shown that, number one, the attack was symbolic, because some people were asking, why Sokoto? And of course, I've told you the presence of Lukarawa is there. And then, of course, it's symbolic in the sense of people around that area knowing that the reach of the United States can get to anybody. It doesn't matter where you are. And then, of course, some people say that the attack was, it didn't hit its target. It did, because the target was the Boni forest, where a lot of the terrorists were hiding or living. So they are still doing a damage assessment. And after the battle damage assessment with the United States, AFRICOM, and the Nigerian government, then we'll know actually exactly how many people, were involved, how many casualties that we have. And of course, the other areas of Tangasa and Jabo, there might be fallouts there, but thank God, no civilian casualties. But we should also know that some of these guys were using human shield. They were using the people as human shield. The attacks, the strikes were very, very precise, and they are not just shot to destroy civilian population.
Now, Dr. Makri, I wanted to take you on something that you said from earlier regarding the Lukarawas and how they operate. You mentioned human shield, and this is exactly what we have come to know about how they operate in these states, that they actually embed themselves into communities, even sometimes serving as governance there. So a strike on the Lukarawas would often mean that you would have civilian casualties. Doesn't this worry the Nigerian government or the U.S. itself? If there are hubs inside of the forest, well, then that makes a bit of sense. But I'd like you to talk about that, and still about the relationship between Nigeria and the Sahel nations with these airstrikes happening so close to their door mouths.
Okay. Well, the thing is that in situations like this, you can have collateral damages. You cannot avoid that, because no matter how precise the attack the strike will be, these guys have gathered, human shield around themselves. Remember, immediately President Trump of the United States announced that there is going to be a strike in Nigeria. What did they do? They went and started kidnapping school children. We didn't have this before. But suddenly, after that announcement, they went to Papiri, they went to other places and gathered school children that they surrounded themselves with. Because the idea is that, okay, if you want to hit me, come and hit me, and then we'll use these people. But the Bona Forest is their base. That's where they do all their things, and even when they kidnap people, they take it into that forest. But some of them are also spread out in the local governments. So I think there is a lot of intelligence work there to make sure that civilian casualties are strongly minimized.
Dr. Amakri, I'd like to ask, for my own benefit, President Donald Trump mentioned that according to them, this was a success, and I think I heard you echo it a little bit as well to say the targets were met and it was a success. My question for you, for someone like myself, who's watching in Nigeria, how would we measure success in this instance? What do we say success is? Because like you said, we have yet to be given information on the number of casualties, so we don't know what was hit, how many were hit. And I mean, echoing on what Amazino said as well, was this a hit that wanted to rattle the terrorists, or I'm trying to understand what we measure as success in this regard. Can you just break that down for me?
Yes, success can be measured in different ways. The first apparent one is, following the battle damage assessment, where the target was, hit, and that is in the forest. That one was hit. So that is a success. Number two, it is also giving a situation of deterrence. For other, what do they call them? Terrorists, either in Nigeria or outside. And then, of course, like I said earlier, the Sokoto is very, very unique. The reason for Sokoto, because if you look at the map over there, you'll find out that where do they come in? They come in from the Sahel, Niger Republic, and then, of course, Benin Republic. That axis right there is very, very important. And then, of course, hitting that area sends the message to everybody, that we can reach you. And, of course, for even the supporters, and that is very, very important, the supporters who have been shielding them, this is a strong message. And you can see that the reactions that are coming out, from that area, you hear some reactions saying that, oh, why Sokoto? Sokoto is quiet, and, but that is not true. We've had this problem for 16 years, and then we've not been able to do it. Somebody has come to help us do it, and then, of course, people are complaining. I think that's misplaced.
Okay, well, Doctor, we have other guests joining us now. I'd like to introduce them. We have joining us journalist Abubakar Ismail Kankara, who is in Sokoto, if I'm not mistaken. You're welcome, Ismail. Thank you very much for joining us. And I am being told that we also have Alexander von Rugen, expert when it comes to geopolitics, also joining us. Welcome, gentlemen. I think we have a very fine dais now. So let me first start with you, Alexander. Thank you for joining us. And I'm wondering what you think about the implications regionally here when it comes to these strikes, as they are so close to the Sahel belt. I had earlier asked Dr. Amakri about this. So do you think that these strikes are going to stop these terrorist activities? Do you think that they are going to drive them away from their locations? If that happens, does it drive them way deeper into the Sahel region, or does it drive them way into or downward into the Nigerian system? Depending on each of these, how do these communities react? On one side, Nigeria, we've been battling these issues. And on the other side, these Sahel states, they're not just going to sit down and watch these communities or these bodies walk into their borders. Mm-hmm. What do you think will happen, Alexander?
Well, I think the initial reaction is like rats fleeing an inflamed nest. They go in every direction that they can. They take the route of least resistance. As my colleague indicated, the attack in the Sahel in Sokoto, because of its proximity to the Sahel, sends a real big message. This is not the state that most of the atrocities were happening. Borno State was on the opposite side of your country. That was where, if we want to talk Christian atrocities, where most of them were happening. This message was political, and we know the problem. I mean, if we look at the group that was involved here, it was the Lukarawa group, which is from the French name recruits. They're not Nigerian. They're from the Sahel, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and also from Algeria. Okay? The implication of their name, recruits, means there's an organized effort to destabilize Nigeria. It's a sovereign threat to your country. So it was a very strategic strike. And if they disperse, it's a knee-jerk reaction to the attack. If they see there's no more attacks, and if they see the pressure is now off, they're going to return to normal. This is the first of many, as far as strategy goes. The reason it took so long, we have to also look at that. There was surveillance coming in from Ghana over private contractors for the American military, surveilled the area, got intel, identified where the leaders were, in particular, Bello, I think it was Bello Turji, who was hit in the attack and deceased now. That was a major victory, because the plan was to cut off the head of the snake, go for the leadership. This plan we've seen happen before. It happened in Yemen with the Houthis. It's a famous Israeli tactic when they went after all of the Iranian scientists and generals in the country. Okay? If you want to stop something from escalating, cut off the head of the snake. So I believe the rats have fled the nest now. Maybe some of them have gone into the Sahel. Perhaps this could be a catalyst to a new formed alliance with the Sahel nations, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, which also are afflicted by the same insurgencies. Now, there's disruption in the ECOWAS group, but as they say in the art of war, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And perhaps this will help reunite the Sahel nations with Nigeria in fighting a common enemy. I would hope politics doesn't get in the way of common sense.
That's a very good one. I'd like to come to you, Mr. Kankara Abubakar. You've been covering security issues in the Northwest. What have communities in Sokoto been dealing with before these airstrikes? Can you give us some intel?
Thank you very much. I think when we talk about what has been happening to Sokoto and its environs, I think it's purely banditry. It started from the farmer-herded clashes, and then it escalates to banditry, which further root the ethnic clash between the Hausa majority and the Fulanis. Then recently we've seen incidents of the Lukarawas and the Ansaru, who allies of the Boko Haram. But in Sokoto case, you find out that there are very few. They station themselves in the neighboring Zamfara state, where the forest of Sabonbirni becomes, I think, their most hostile place, where they do hide and seek to go and launch attack on the innocent civilians, irrespective of their culture, irrespective of their religion. It becomes one of the most criminal enterprise. They extort citizens by imposing levy on them, and then they kidnap people for ransom, and they rustle their animals, most especially their cows, and then they kill indiscriminately by stopping people on the road, kill some, and then kidnap some. So I think this has been the major issues, and then in some instances, you find out that even the security, the military and the police most especially the vigilantes, among the victims of these terrorist groups. So I think this is one of the most situations in Sokoto, but although in Sokoto is at the minimal, we can compare what is happening in Katsina and in Zamfara than the Sokoto state, which after this airstrike has brought up a lot of questions. Why hitting the police that have never even been experiencing such kind of attacks or atrocities of these terrorists? I think this is the situation before the airstrike in Sokoto state.
Kankara, thank you very much for that. I mean, you've just highlighted something that I'm going to further go on into asking Dr. Amakri about. But what are residents describing the situation as? We've heard news about fear, confusion. They don't even know exactly what's happening with these strikes. They're just experiencing bombardments. There seems to be a lack of communication with the communities that are involved. That's on one side. But what is it turning, or what is it making the residents do? Are they still confused, or do they have hope? Just a second, Doctor. Doctor, just a second. That question was for Abubakar.
Oh.
Yes, please. Abubakar, I want to know what the residents are feeling like now. Does it seem like hope has come, or do they still have fear, anxiety?
Actually, the residents, not only people from Sokoto State, I can tell you the whole majority, or let me call them the whole Hausa and the Fulani settlers in the northern Nigeria are now scared of fear of the unknown, because what they see, because from the comment of Donald Trump, who sees to say he is going to rescue Christians, lots of people have question and doubt. Is he truly coming to salvage the Christian, or is he coming to attack the Muslim? But what is important is we know this airstrike may target the terrorists, which is a welcome development, but the communities, because I have visited this community and I've seen how a lot of them have started packing their loot, meaning they will also be victims of illegal, they will also be victims of displacement. So such kind of things have actually imposed fears on residents. On the other hand, the bandits are coming to kill, and the airstrike is also coming. Who knows where is the next location? Because if you check, this is just few miles away from their homes, which is very disastrous, which has exposed fear on them. I have witnessed, in fact, some of them, when I visited the community, have begged me if I can help to accommodate some of their children or sketch the town, because they were thinking their life is gone, because this is not normal. This is all like what it has happened, because some of them thought it was an even air crash. When they rushed to the scene, they found out that it was explosive devices. And in fact, what even prompted more question is how the place is been cleared. All some of the scavengers pick up some of the remnants of the bomb, and the military as well took some, as alleged by the resident. So why is the government hiding things, and why is the government not informing them? Is also an alarming, which I think impose fear not only on Sokoto, but people in Niger, people in Zamfara, people in Katsina, because of course, if at all this attack hits places like Binyongwari, places like Sabon Bini, and then places like Eda Sabwa, so we will know, yes, is they are truly targeting the terrorists, or like take Sambisa Forest. But no, it's targeted residents, it targeted communities, and then it falls in people's farm closer to their homes. So I think a lot has more question, and a lot have more fear to live in the communities that they have been living for quite a long time. I think this is the situation. People don't even know where to run to. They don't know who to help them.
Alexander, I'd like to come to you, especially because of the last statement that you made about politics not clouding our wisdom or ability to reason. I think it's quite a no-brainer that when President Donald Trump rather, made the decision to go ahead and execute the airstrikes. One would say that there was a clear message that was being sent outside of it being a Christmas present. It would look like a clear message was sent. And the reason why I'm bringing this question to you is because you strike me as someone that is very big on partnerships in Africa, and you made mention of that right now. But my question is, what does a partnership look like with the Sahel region, taking into consideration that many of the countries that the Sahel, I'll include Mali, Burkina Faso, seem to be breaking away from the countries that Nigeria looks like they are partnering with. Example, this is France and as well as the United States.
Well, it isn't really breaking away from the States. The Americans had one base in Niger, and it was a drone base. Americans are not colonialists as far as Africa is concerned. The French have a very tattered history in Africa and globally as colonialists. And rather than bash them, I mean, objectively, they've got a very poor history. The CFA franc takes advantage of African countries. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger and Chad have all moved away from the French connection, so to speak. Ironically, Nigeria allied with France, had made an announcement about it to work in conjunction in solving this problem. I think that was more a defensive action out of fear that America might come in, guns a-blazing on the ground. Let's be real about that. That wouldn't have happened without a UN resolution or without an invitation from Nigeria. Because of the three countries in the Sahel having gone through military coups in the last year, ECOWAS's policy is not to recognize a non-diplomatically duly elected government. So it forced a division in the ECOWAS community. I think what we have to look at, if it takes an authoritarian to solve a problem that's best for its people, then choose the authoritarian. Sometimes democracy, if we want to end up with democracy, that's the end game. But to get there, sometimes it takes an authoritarian rule to get the bad apples out of the country. So this is what I'm talking about, putting politics aside. You've got three military leaders in an area that's plagued by the same problem that Nigeria has. Wouldn't it make sense to at least form some association and work out a deal to work together, at the same time respecting each other's sovereignty in the area? But it doesn't make any sense to drive terrorists out of Nigeria to cross the border into Niger or Burkina Faso, regroup, only to come back and fight stronger another day. That's what they're asking for. They'd love to have a ceasefire. That's a euphemism for, we need time to regroup and rearm and reorganize so that you won't be able to bomb us again. We're going to figure out a better way to hide, a better tactic to avoid the Americans. It's called guerrilla warfare.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, guerrilla warfare. I'm coming to that. Thank you for bringing that up. My question is to Dr. Makri, and I think also to you, Alexander, but I'll let Dr. Makri go first. I'm wondering whether deeper U.S. involvement in Sokoto and let's just say generally the Sahel right now is not going to provoke more alignment by these military juntas, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, who seem to be fraternizing with Russia. So isn't this going to make Nigeria or the region a proxy ground for a proxy war between America and Russia? And that has been my concern since the start of this U.S.-Nigeria partnership. What do you think, Dr. Makri?
Yes, you're right. A lot of people are worried about that because they feel that, they don't want Africa generally to be the battleground for the superpowers because they're all coming in for one thing or the other. Their national interests are different, either economic or political or, geopolitical influence. So, yes, it could be something that is of concern where you have to think seriously. And that's why the relationship between that of Nigeria and the United States. I think is well thought out because when President Trump declared Nigeria as a country of particular concern, and then later said that he was coming into Nigeria guns blazing. A lot of people were very worried. Why should he do that? Nigeria is a sovereign country, and he can't do that. And of course, the government moved very fast, where they pushed back on that narrative, and then of course moved to Washington with a delegation, and then of course talked to the right people, came back, and then of course the United States reciprocated by sending another delegation to Nigeria where, they all agreed. And of course they saw a common ground, and that common ground was how to attack the terrorists. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, one of the major national interests of the United States is fighting terrorism wherever in the world where it happens. So they were interested. And then, of course, you saw what happened with the ISR flights. And then, of course, the recent strike in Sokoto state. And then, of course, there's more to come because they've started mapping Maiduguri area. And then more strikes will come. So I think it's also giving out the warning that, it's not going to be business as usual with these guys.
Alexander, your take on proxy battleground?
It doesn't like the fact that Russia is currently assisting in the Sahel, but keep in mind they're not doing so well. In Mali, they've taken a lot of casualties. Bamako has been cut off from fuel, and it's buckling, and Mali's crying out for help. The Russians came in, but they don't bring in the resources that America does. You don't see any tactical strikes like we have in Sokoto here from the Russians. Americans bring technology. As my colleague pointed out, Trump has been on the record. He doesn't want to invade. He doesn't want to occupy. He wants to be the catalyst to peace. He wants to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, I think it's silly that he's using the Christian genocide rhetoric. That's my opinion, because it's caused confusion in a secular country like Nigeria. But if you look at what's gotten us to this point and the reason America has allowed itself to come in, the nation of particular concern, that title is awarded to countries that have religious issues within the country. And if there's atrocities of any singular group, Trump's constituents, a strong voting power in America, are the right-wing Christians. So he's using this as a good justification in America to come into Nigeria. Otherwise, why is he there? Why is America in Africa? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that opened the door for him. He made a threat. He got everybody's attention. Certainly your president and your people. Everybody was in angst of the Americans marching in. Okay, there's mixed emotions here. Now, people have to be the voice of reason. I think Nigeria needs a national campaign to educate their people what's actually going on. Now, at the same time, there's a lack of transparency on some of these actions because, unfortunately, there's a lot of inherent corruption in Nigeria. I'll give you an example. The execution of your brigadier general in Borno Strait last month. He was attacked. He was shot. He survived. He went into the forest to hide. And the terrorist group somehow got his GPS information off his communicator, his telephone. Now, did that come because the terrorists are that technologically refined to be able to do GPS locates? Or is somebody in Abuja or someone in the military informing them? Mm-hmm. I mean, that truth will hopefully surface, but we don't hear too much about what happened to the assassination of a brigadier general in Nigeria. That must have been very humiliating for the military, and actually would have destroyed a lot of morale, high-ranking officials. I believe this strike and the way it's happening and the cooperation with the Nigerian government is boosting the morale of your own military. And keep in mind, it's what's not being said here that is also happening. You're boosting your police force by 20,000. You're boosting your military by 24,000. That kind of slips through the cracks, but Americans are training them in Nigeria to be more effective in your own country. I mean, that is true assistance. That's not an invasion.
Oh, that's thanks for the reminder. That's actually something positive to look forward to.
I'd like to go to you, Mr. Kankara. There was a undetonated missile that, of course, landed in Sokoto. My question for you, of course, with all the fear and emotion that is being raised there, how is that particular incident being handled at this moment?
How is that what? Sorry?
So my question to you was, I know that there were reports that an undetonated missile also landed in Sokoto. And of course, with what you have just said about the fear and the anxiety that is raging around residents of Sokoto State, how is that particular incident being handled?
I think the National Orientation Agency should come because a lot of Nigerians need to be informed. It's only when they are informed, they stop hiding information and stop acting like they knows everything. They should consult the locals. They should actually make points and clarifications to yes, this is not a pure attack or clear attack on particular people. It's attacks to eliminate the terrorists and to stabilize or to bring peace in the country. So I think what is most important is the government should engage the locals, such like both the traditional and religious institutions, so that to make the wider awareness on issues on ground, on the importance of locals collaborations, the importance of giving out, feeding the government and the other security agencies the right information to know exactly where to attack and then to know when to end these menace that has been consuming people's and their lives and their properties as well. So I think the government is responsible to make some clarifications to citizens so that the fears will go down and then normalcy will return while the terrorists are being attacked.
All right, thank you, Kara. Final question, Dr. Makri, it's going to come to you. 16 missiles were fired off the coast of Guinea. We've only heard particularly about 3. Out of those 3, one of them was undetonated. In these kinds of cases, especially when it has to do with American technology, what happens? Does Nigeria have the technology to keep that missile undetonated or at least diffuse it? Tell us exactly what happens in when these kinds of matters happen.
You said 16, of course. 16, missiles, precision missiles were fired and conveyed by MQ-9 Reaper. That's a Reaper drone, which is a Predator drone, and then, of course, some Tomahawks were even fired besides the 16, But remember, we said it's right in the burning forest. That was the target that, this happened. The ones that you saw were just wild ones, like the 3 that you saw. Now, taking off from what Kankara was just saying, it is very, very heartbreaking that there's a distance between the Nigerian government and the people, a strong distance, because when things like this happen, we need to get the government to be very, very close, very, very Nigerian government. It's a collaboration. When the Americans are doing their own, we also should do our own, because we need to come very close to the people. And then, of course, inform them, allay their fears. You know, a lot of public communication is required here. But you stay away, and then, of course, the people don't know what is happening, and then, of course, people start building stories and social media, and, of course, people start manufacturing stories. So to control this properly, I think for this one, let's take it as a learning curve. And then after this, when they are going to somewhere else, which they will, we expect that the Ministry of Information or the defense people or police, because when they are doing the war damage assessment, these people have to move in physically to go and, you know, see what happened on the ground. And they should be very, very close in, you know, telling the people what's going on.
Dr. Dennis Amakri, we want to say thank you very much for joining this dais and having this conversation. It's been almost the entire hour, and I think that we have been able to, well, make some clarity on what the situation is. Also, thank you very much, Kankara Abubakar, who is in Sokoto State there. We enjoy your coverage of the incidents and will continue to come to you for more on that. And Alexander Van Rugen, thanks for your geopolitical contributions on this conversation. We always love having you here now, don't we? Gentlemen, thank you. We're going to say to the viewers, do stay tuned, because we have the news coming up in just a bit. And one...
This evening, we begin with the security matters, where the United States has resumed intelligence and surveillance operations over Nigeria's Sambisa forest following recent airstrikes targeting ISIS-linked militants in Sokoto State. A flight tracking data on Saturday showed a U.S.-operated aircraft conducting reconnaissance missions over Borno State, a known stronghold of insurgent groups. The aircraft, identified as a modified Gulfstream V, commonly used for intelligence, surveillance, and fact-finding. This is believed to be monitoring activities of Islamic State West Africa province, operating in the northeast and Lake Chad region. Now, surveillance flights had paused briefly after the Sokoto strike before restarting. Records indicate the mission began in late November, with aircraft operating out of Ghana, a regional logistics hub for the United States forces. The renewed operations come amid heightened security cooperation between Washington and Abuja and follow warnings of a continued military action against militant groups in Nigeria. In the meantime, the African Democratic Congress says the airstrike carried out by the United States Africa Command in Sokoto State on Friday highlighted what it describes as a historic incompetence of the administration of President Bola Tinubu. The United States launched a series of airstrikes on ISIS terrorists in Sokoto in the early hours of Friday. In a statement, the ADC National Publicity Secretary Bolaji Abdullahi said the opposition party supports lawful efforts to protect Nigerians, but blamed governance failures for the foreign military operations on Nigerian soil. Abdullahi also warned that permitting external forces to conduct direct military operations in a country is unsustainable and could undermine Nigeria's long-term strategic interests. Now, to discuss this further, we are joined by a security consultant, Dixon Osaji. Dixon, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Yeah, Dixon, now the United States has resumed intelligence and surveillance operations over Nigeria's Sambisa forest following recent airstrikes targeting ISIS-linked militants in Sokoto State. Your thoughts on this, please?
Well, for me, 2 days ago was a day we received the Tomahawk in our territorial space, and as of today, intelligence coming stated very clearly that the United States are conducting surveillance. Because before any mission or before any attack against your enemy, the so-called hostile surveillance. I think what they are doing presently is hostile surveillance to ascertain the strength of these guys, to ascertain their location, to ascertain their capability and capacity to ensure that if they want to strike, they strike them and decimate them from their effective zone. So I think they are carrying out a pre-attack surveillance activities, and this activities is also known as hostile surveillance. I surely believe that at the end of this hostile surveillance, they'll be able to send some deliverables to the enemies then, so that they'll be able to wipe these guys from the Sambisa forest.
Now, President Trump specifically framed these airstrikes as protection for primary innocent Christians in a country where 7,000 Christians were killed in the first 7 months of 2025 alone. Is he addressing a reality, or is he dangerously oversimplifying a conflict that has historically claimed just as many Muslim lives in the north?
Well, I would not put words into Donald Trump's mouth, but I strongly believe that we've been suffering from Christian genocide in Nigeria, and that is just the truth. Nobody's going to argue about that. And I also believe that the Muslims are being killed. And if you want to ask who are the people killing the Muslims, they are the Islamic, Islamic terrorists, the radicalized Islamic terrorists, and also the. First of all, in 2014, I remember the founder of Boko Haram, Shakau, went live on air and says that if you see them, kill the infidels, kill the unbelievers, kill the Christians, And the foundation of Boko Haram was that Western education is sane. So as time progresses, it metamorphosed into, economic terrorism, whereby these guys started kidnapping Nigerians for ransom, and as well, going off their, foundation or their objective. Every organization has its mission and vision. And if anyone comes on air and says that the objective of Boko Haram is not to Islamize Nigeria, I don't know if they are the spokesperson or if that person is the spokesperson for Boko Haram. But I strongly believe that Donald Trump himself have carried out an assessment of the killings in Nigeria. It's still a lot of killings going on, but he's particularly concerned about the killings of Christians, maybe because that is his own faith. But as a country, let's just get it right. We need to wipe these guys out because they are killing both Christians and also they are killing Muslims. But these killings must stop if we want to have a great country, Nigeria. And it's right time for the Supreme Muslim Council and the Christian Association of Nigeria to start talking to ensure that the killings of any Nigerians, be it a Christian or a Muslim, by any religious group, be it a radicalized Islamic group, must stop. And this time is right now for us to talk about it and stop this nonsense bedeviling our country. So we have Americans on our side, sending precision missiles to the enemy's den. We never expected this. It's so disturbing. And the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Air Force have the capability, but they've been so political about this. So the Americans are on ground, and I'm telling you that they will not be political about this. They will wipe these guys from our territorial space as soon as possible.
Now, there's speculations that the strikes were not necessarily on target, and I want us to talk about that because the Pentagon describes the airstrikes, and I quote, as perfect strikes. However, with reports of missile fragments found near civilian villages in Sokoto, what is the risk that this intervention becomes the primary recruitment tool for the very militants it aims to destroy?
The Tomahawk is not a friendly missile. It's a precision-driven missile. It's always, hit its targets wherever it's being sent to. Sometimes when you send out the Tomahawk, there are some fragments, that can, fall out from the Tomahawk in some given areas, some given locations. But the truth is that the Tomahawk went to its location and, got its target. I've seen a lot of people on air saying that it was a missed target. It can never be a missed target because that Tomahawk was designed, to travel for about 1,600 kilometers precision-wise and also hit its target precision-wise. So the targets were hit. Any other fragments you've seen around being posted on social media might be the fragment from the Tomahawk. But I tell you that the Tomahawk delivered its message precisely as directed some 3 days ago.
Now, we'll come back to the Tomahawk very quickly. Now, coming just days after the U.S. strike in Syria, is this a new Trump doctrine for Africa? Are we moving away from long-term stability building towards a transactional model of offshore missile diplomacy?
Well, for me, it's so sad that as a country, as we speak right now, Nigeria is the most discussed country in the world negatively all over the media yesterday and the day before yesterday, all over the world. Nigeria has been discussed. Why have we been discussed? Because we've gambled with the state of insecurity so badly, and that is why the global space are not happy with what is happening. Some are for, and some are against the decision of Trump. And those that are for his decision, they are happy. Those that are against the decision, they are not happy. It is what it is, because whatever the case may be, if you stand on any given side, you must face some backlash, either from the positive or negative side.
So guys, let me take you through some of the reactions from Nigerians after Raimo came out to say that Trump's airstrike is going to bring peace to Nigeria. It's not bringing war. You know, like I read it again, it says President Trump is not trying to bring war to Nigeria. He's bringing peace and security to Nigeria and to thousands of Christians who face horrific violence and death. The strikes against ICCs on Christmas, in coordination with the Nigerian government, have given hope to Christians in Nigeria. And let's see how some Nigerians are reacting. This person, thank you very much, sir. We deeply appreciate your sincere report, courage, and unwavering concern for the Nigerian people. Your commitment gives hope and inspires confidence in a better Nigeria. Now, this other person here said, we also thank Israel for recognizing Somalia. Okay, this person say, we, the Jewish Christians, are also thanking you for Biafra land. Thanking you from Biafra land. We also thank Israel for recognizing the Republic of Somaliland in a way forward of ending the Islamic terrorists. God bless Trump. God bless America. Unity is not by force. Biafra must be free. And then he went ahead to say this one. Anyone against Trump's mission is a terrorist. Nigeria is a disgraced nation ruled by terrorists aim to extremely extinct the Christians from the map. But Trump said no more. If America brings war to Nigeria, it's very good because we are already at war with terrorists. And this other person here say, right more, if truly Turkey is sponsoring Boko Haram, according to this Egyptian TV program, how can this be stopped? So people are calling attention of Raimo, and this person, Nigeria is already at war. Ask the slaughtered farmer who lost their farmlands to terrorists disguised as herdsmen, to women and children raped every day by terrorists, to the men killed and their houses and families burned to ashes. Flush the terrorists out or sanction APC, and they will provide the terrorists, So guys, this person here say, please pay no attention to naysayers. Riley, as the youth president to Christian worshippers in Nigeria, we say thank you, and we expect more, just as your principal said. And this person here says, Sheikh Gumi is the one advocating for terrorists in Nigeria. He needs to be arrested. And this person says, after the U.S. bombing of ICCs, the National Security Advisor, Ribadu, a jihadist in Tinubu government, regroups 7,000 ISIS fighters armed with AK-47, kitted in military uniform and disguised as forest guards across Nigeria, clearly to continue genocide against Christians. So guys, I don't know how Ribadu came up with this kind of security architecture. Hey, community policing is not by force. You can't just bring people and say you have forest guards. Is that what Tinubu's government promised Nigerians? Another persecuted Christian that needs to be freed, like Sunday Jackson, his name is nnamdi Kanu. Honestly, the US really has to pay attention to Nnamdi Kanu's plight, you know. And now this person say, hi Raimo, do you know that 3 trucks ran into a largely Christian festival, the annual Econ Carnival in Middle Belt, killing at least 5 people and injuring over 20? If we really want to protect Nigerian Christians, airstrikes aren't enough. I mean, this makes a lot of sense. So guys, there is this festival happening in the north where trucks just ran into the people and bite many of them. I don't know when Nigeria will stop seeing all this. Is it being Muslim is not by force. If they don't want Christianity, is it by killing others? It's a sad, heavy truck duty crashed into Christmas procession at the annual Econ Carnival in Nasarawa State, leaving at least 4 dead and many critically injured. So guys, this is what people go through in the name of being Christians in Nigeria. Thank you, Raimo. Nigerian Christians plead with Trump to come to completely emasculate the terrorists. If they aren't completely erased, they will come back with a vengeance against the long-suffering Christians of Nigeria. I think this makes sense. If you want to clear them perfectly. And this other person here say, war is welcome. Boko Haram is not on picnic or music tour here. They are waging war against non-Muslims here. Anything to degrade them is welcome from US. Our oil field in the south are readily available. Take as many, no problem. God bless America. This person, even if you give Tinubu 30 years, nothing will work. Coming from Boala Dane, honestly, this one is also welcome, you know. And this person here says, we need the United States of America military base in Nigeria. Precisely south is the NSA Ribadu that led the Nigerian government team to the US is already enriching the Mieti Allah with uniform and AK-47 to act as forest guards, whereas they are the terrorists killing farmers. I'm just wondering, where did NSA got these forest guards from? The systemic genocide against Christians have been going on over a decade. The Nigerian government under the corrupt APC leadership is not doing enough to stop it because they are complicit in it. We are grateful to the president for your commitment. Your commitment to stopping it. Please never mind the naysayers and the rationalizing the strikes on jihadist terrorists is either an enabler or part of the problem. And this other person he said, come take over the whole of southern Nigeria, dissolve Nigeria and declare Biafra. He should come and take the whole of southern Nigeria, dissolve Nigeria and declare Biafra. As a Nigerian from south, thank you, Raimo, for speaking the truth. President Trump's action in coordination with our government has finally given hope to persecuted Christians who have suffered so much from this Islamic terrorists. God bless America for standing. And this other person here said, we love President Trump for what he's doing. God bless the United States of America. Thank you, Raimo. Who is saying war? Who is saying war of not the sponsor of the other 78? I don't know what this person tried to write. And this other person also tweeted saying, please tell President Donald Trump to strike more because these terrorists are sponsored by Nigerian government. Please come and save us from the corrupt government and terrorists. Paul to Ted Cruz, Department of War. And this person, Mr. Raimo, are you aware that Nigerian government has negotiated security deal with Turkey? Does this mean they are not acknowledging the help the US has offered them? And haven't they given any speech to thank the United States for their assistance? Okay, I think that makes sense. If the United States is even aware that there is war, as in not war, as in the Nigerian government is looking the way of Turkey. We saw that headline yesterday, and then this person say, did I just reply the wrong place? Okay. This person say anyone trying to rewrite the narrative is either a terrorist or has a hand in terrorism plaguing Nigeria. Keep up the good work, Trump. And this other person here claims that President Trump is bringing peace to Nigeria through airstrike oversimplifies a very complex reality. Security in Nigeria cannot be achieved by foreign bombs alone. While protecting civilians, Christians, Muslims, and other essential, lasting peace comes from from strengthening Nigeria's own intelligence, governance, justice system, and addressing the root cause of extremism. External military actions, even when coordinated, may offer short-term relief, but history shows they often fail further. Fuel further insecurity if not followed by political and social solution. Nigeria needs partnership, not prosy warfare, and security that protects all citizens without turning the country into another testing ground for global power politics. I think this makes sense, This makes sense. I say, this person say, I believe I speak for all well-meaning Nigerians when I say we are solidly behind President Trump. Please pay attention to the terrorist apologists trying to Please pay no attention to the terrorist apologists trying to spin the narrative. Portis is doing exactly what Nigerians want him to do. Destroy the terrorists. Thank you for all you do for Nigeria. Nigeria is not a terrorist or country. We thank President Trump for the greatest country on earth, real Donald Trump, for standing up to the terrorists and their sponsors. So guys, I don't know what you make of all this. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Thank you.